Hi guys, today I'm going to be doing my Christmas/December book haul. I'll probably start with the books that I got in the beginning of December when I just did some book shopping on Waterstones, and then the rest of the stuff are like gifts that I received over the Christmas period. So the first one I have here is The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. I read my first Toni Morrison in 2020 and it was Sula, and this was the one that I actually wanted to read first, but it was at the time where everyone was like buying a lot of black author books, which seems to have died down now, I don't know why, and this was out of stock when I wanted to purchase it. So yeah, this is The Bluest Eye. I think it's one of her most famous books, and it says here, oh, it's her debut novel, I didn't realise that. It immerses us in the tragic, torn lives of a poor black family, Pauline, Cholly, Sam and Pecola, in post-depression 1940s Ohio. Unlovely and unloved, Pecola prays each night for blue eyes like those of her privileged white schoolfellows. At once intimate and expansive, unsparing in its truth-telling, The Bluest Eyes shows how the past savagely defines the present. And I think that would be very interesting to read around now, because I've recently seen a lot of like news related to that eye surgery some people are having to make their eyes blue, but they're going blind. Do you know what I mean? So just in like current world news, I thought it'd be interesting to have something like this kind of compare and contrast with what's actually happening. So yeah, this is a book that I actually wanted to read first from Toni Morrison, so I'm hoping to enjoy it. Then I have Love in Colour by Bolu Babalola. This one is mythical tales from around the world retold. I believe they're short stories, I want to say, and I think I heard Book of Sins on Instagram talk about this. I can't remember if she liked it or not, but I think that's where I first saw this. So this one's a lovely hardcover edition. Let's see what it looks like underneath. Stunning red shade underneath that matches the flap on the inside, and it is a really striking cover. Yeah, it does look like there's a couple of short stories. I'll just read the main kind of blurb part. Sorry, the heating's just gone on if you heard that horrible click. Whether captured in the passion of love at first sight or realising that self-love takes precedence over romantic connection, the characters in this vibrant story face up to and navigate this most complex human emotion and try to capture its intangible essence. Bolu takes a step in decolonising tropes of love and creates new stories inspired by the wildly beautiful and astonishingly diverse tales of romance and desire that already exist in so many communities and cultures. I thought it'd be interesting to read because I don't really read a lot of books about love, but I noticed when this was talked about, like, there was some, you know, and in the blurb there was some content on like self-love and stuff, so I thought it might be interesting. And yeah, it's got Candy Carty-Williams has done like a little blurb on the back to say, so rarely is love expressed this richly, this vividly, or this artfully. So then I picked up another new release. I haven't read the first book by this author. This is Susanna Clarke's Piranesi. I haven't read the Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, but I think I'm more interested as time goes on in picking that up. But this one is much smaller than that book, and again it's blurbed by Madeline Miller and Erin Morgenstern, both authors I want to read from but haven't yet. So let's see what this one is about. Piranesi lives in the house, perhaps he always has. In his notebooks, day after day, he makes a clear and careful record of its wonders. The labyrinth of halls, the thousands upon thousands of statues, the tides that thunder up staircases, the clouds that move in slow procession through the upper walls. On Tuesdays and Fridays, Piranesi sees his friend, the other. At other times, he brings tributes of food and water lilies to the dead, but mostly he is alone. Messages begin to appear scratched out in chalk on the pavements. There is someone new in the house, but who are they and what do they want? Are they a friend, or do they bring destruction and madness, as the other claims? Lost texts must be found, secrets must be uncovered. The world that Piranesi thought he knew is becoming strange and dangerous. The beauty of the house is immeasurable, its kindness infinite. Yeah, so this sounds interesting. From the cover, honestly, I was interested. I didn't recognise the name, but it looked like it was some sort of mythology based story, and to be honest, that blurb doesn't tell you a lot, does it? It seems quite cryptic to me. Oh my god, okay, beautiful naked hardcover. It literally spells out Piranesi all across, with the satyr on the spine. Oh my god, how stunning. It looks like Greek columns, and then inside there's like seashells and seahorses and such like that. So yeah, I'm thinking I might pick this one up relatively soon. We'll see. I'm intrigued because that blurb didn't really give me an awful lot. And this one was a random purchase. I didn't really know much about it, but I kind of was just drawn to the cover. And this is Foxes Unearthed, the story in Love and Loathing in Modern Britain by Lucy Jones. I think I was kind of leaning to something foxy because someone had recently talked about a piece of non-fiction regarding foxes, and it reminded me of the dissertation I did for uni. And so I thought, I want to get back into more non-fiction nature writing, particularly with foxes, and just kind of read something about that. So the back just says here, the fox is a controversial creature in Britain, perceived variously as a beautiful animal, a cunning rogue, a vicious pest and a worthy foe. Exploring town and country, literature and hunting, facts and fables, Foxes Unearthed reveals our rich and complex relationship with one of our most loved and most vilified wild animals. I actually think, looking at this cover, this is one that I had wanted to read as part of my research for my dissertation, but I don't think I definitely didn't get to it. I don't think they had it at the library and I didn't want to buy any books at the time. So yeah, hoping that this gives me fond memories of my dissertation, which was horrifying, but also just some interesting reading. And then I picked up, finally, the 2 last books in the Mistborn trilogy, which will, for me, complete that series, and my first Brandon Sanderson books. I read The Final Empire probably like 2 years ago now, and I've yet to continue on, but I love that book. It was amazing, so I don't know why I waited this long. Actually, I do know why. I wanted to get particular covers, and I think they've slightly been reprinted and re-released, because although I've got the covers that are blank and white for the first book, they don't have like this weird blue border around it. So I think the one that I have without the border just isn't in print anymore, because I can't find that edition anywhere for the rest of the books. So I got book 2, which is The Well of Ascension, and book 3, The Hero of Ages, and they feel kind of nice and floppy. But yeah, I'm really excited to get back into this world because I really enjoyed The Final Empire. A lot of people describe it as kind of like a fantasy heist, but then it's kind of heist, kind of not. It's basically a group of misfits, really, are wanting to overthrow the Dark Lord, who is, the story is what if the Dark Lord had won. So they're under that kind of rule at the minute, and they're just trying to overthrow them. And it has a really cool magic system involving metals and the consumption of metals. And yeah, it's just such an intense, really well structured story. So I'm hoping to adore the next 2 books in the series, and then continue on with general Brandon Sanderson Mistborn universe. Yeah, so the next lot of books are books that I got for Christmas, kindly, from friends and family. So one of my friends got me this All on the Board international quotes from the TFL Underground duo. I talked about this already in my Christmas haul, so I'll link that in the description for you. But this I was so excited to get because I absolutely love the All on the Board quotes, especially when they talk about like mental health, invisible illnesses, that sort of stuff, and like celebrity memorial things. It's amazing. Then my cousins and uncle and auntie got me 4 books. So I think the first 3 were actually on my wish list, my Amazon wish list, which is cool. So I got Dorothy Must Die Stories by Danielle Page. I think there's a couple editions of these, I might be wrong, but I read, was it this year, I think? Maybe, yeah, I think it was the beginning of this year I read Dorothy Must Die, and then I followed up with The Wicked Will Rise, I think is a sequel. And I wanted to try out the stories. I was intrigued because by the second book I was liking it more. The first book I was just shocked because it wasn't what I expected. But I'm intrigued, like it's really weird. I like the idea of like a post-apocalyptic Oz, and things going to pot. So I'm guessing the short stories are just more kind of content of the world. And I also got The Deep, which I'm really excited to try. This is by Rivers Solomon, but it's also with David Diggs, William Hudson and Jonathan Snipes. So I don't know why it's got so many authors for such a tiny book, because I'm pretty sure it's just one cohesive story. But this one I've been wanting to read for ages. It's mermaid fiction, and I've been wanting to get back into reading about mermaids for ages because they're one of my favourite kind of mythological creatures. And this one says, Yetu holds the memories for her people, water-dwelling descendants of pregnant African slave women thrown overboard by slave owners who live idyllic lives in the deep. Their past, too traumatic to be remembered regularly, is forgotten by everyone save one, the historian. This demanding role has been bestowed to Yetu. Yetu remembers for everyone, and the memories, painful and wonderful, traumatic and terrible and miraculous, are destroying her. And so she flees to the surface, escaping the memories, the expectations and the responsibilities, and discovers a world her people left behind long ago. So I wonder then if it's gonna be more about her looking into land, like land dwellers, because I want more mermaid stuff. I want to know that history. It sounds so cool. Yeah, excited to try this one out. And then they got me a sequel, one that I've actually really been excited for, and that is The Last Life of Prince Alistar by Alexandra Bracken, who wrote The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding, which I adored. And this one is basically from, so The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding, I can't say that very quickly, is about this boy who, he's like the only unremarkable person in his family, but it turns out that's actually a lie, because he's got a demon living in him, and this demon wants revenge because his great-great-grandfather or whatever broke a deal with him. So now he's seeking that in bloodshed or other ways, basically. And this is about the demon's life. So I don't know if it's more of like a companion sequel. I don't think it's like a direct thing. I think it's just like how the demon came to be involved in this deal and his life before the Redding family got involved. And this cover though is absolutely stunning. Oh my god, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And then they also got me, which I've already showed as well in that Christmas haul video, The Art of Mindfulness, Peace and Calm Colouring. And it's got some stunning illustrations to colour in. I've got some watercolour pens, so I might crack those open again and use them for this. And then the last lot of books are from my partner, who got them for me for Christmas. So I think this one was from my Amazon wishlist, and this is Shielded by Kaylin Flanders. An ancient evil, a broken kingdom, and one girl with the secret to save the world. Yeah, it looked really epic. I just really like the cover, but it reminded me of the Air Awakens covers, and I don't know if it's the same author. It doesn't say what other books the author's written, so I'm not sure if it's the same person or not. But this one seemed pretty epic. I like the idea of it, and it says here, the kingdom of Howdee is in trouble. It's losing the war at its borders, and rumours of a new deadlier threat have surfaced. Princess Janesara knows her skills on the battlefield would make her an asset, and she wants to help, but her father has other plans. Second-born heir to the throne, Jenna lacks the firstborn's, her bolder brother's magical abilities, so the king promises her hand in marriage to the prince of neighbouring Turia in exchange for resources Howdee needs. Jenna has no choice. She must leave behind everything she has ever known if she is to give her people a chance at peace. On the journey to reach her betrothed in her new home, the royal caravan is ambushed, and Jenna realises the rumours were wrong. The new threat is worse than anyone imagined. Now Jenna must decide if revealing a dangerous secret is worth the cost before it's too late for her and for her entire kingdom. So it sounds like some epic, like, girl power sort of vibe, which I'm here for. Then I don't think it's related to the first book by this author, but the covers match and it's stunning, and that is The Betrayals by Bridget Collins, who wrote The Binding, which I've still not read, but I just love how they match up stunningly. Let's see what it looks like underneath. Oh my god. Wow. Oh my god. That is absolutely gorgeous. Oh my goodness. And then inside it looks like a library book. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm guessing this is about books as well, like a book about books. Let's quickly see if the Shielded has anything underneath. Oh, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that, but it's got like an emblem kind of embossed on the front there. It's that design, but in white. And that's just plain on the back, I think. Wow, some stunning naked covers. Like, I love it when they've got something hidden underneath. Okay, as I was saying, The Betrayals by Bridget Collins. I don't actually know what this one is about, I just wanted to have this. So at Montverrier, an exclusive academy tucked away in the mountains, the best and brightest are trained for excellence in the Grand Jeu, an arcane and mysterious contest. This sounds a bit like grimdark, and I don't think I've read any grimdark before, or maybe it is just Gothic literature, but I feel like grimdark is the modern equivalent of Gothic literature. I might be wrong. Leo Martin was once a student there, but lost his passion for the Grand Jeu following a violent tragedy. Now he returns in disgrace, exiled to his old place of learning with his political career in tatters. Montverrier has changed since he studied there, even allowing a woman, Claire Dryden, to serve in the Grand Jeu's highest office of Magister Ludi. When Leo first sees Claire, he senses an odd connection with her, though he's sure they've never met before. The bond between them is strengthening, but both Leo and Claire have built their lives on lies, and as the legendary midsummer game draws closer, secrets are whispering in the walls. That sounds really eerie. I can't wait to see what happens with that story. And then I've got a sequel of a book that I've not read before, and that is Ready Player 2 by Ernest Cline. And I've heard some people don't really like this because I think it's like 10 plus years since he wrote the first book, and a lot of people are saying it's kind of unnecessary. Let's see how this looks. This one's just plain on the spine, not too exciting, but the main cover is quite nice. And inside it's got like Ready Level 2. I think that's pretty cool. So Ready Player 1, from what I can briefly remember, because I've seen the film sort of a few times, my boyfriend's always putting the film on, so I kind of get the gist of what it's about. But it's like a video game concept where they go into the game, like a virtual sort of thing, and I think there's quite a lot of nefarious things happening, dark dealings behind the game exterior, like the front that it puts on. There's quite a lot of dodgy stuff happening inside, and about a group of people that are friends on there trying to meet each other in real life to figure out what's going on, basically stop it. So yeah, I'm interested to see how the sequel holds up, but obviously I'd like to read the first book first. And this one I was super excited. He also got this from my Amazon wishlist, and that is Pan's Labyrinth by Guillermo del Toro and Cornelia Funk. Cornelia Funk did the Inkheart books. I've not read, but I'm pretty sure I've seen the film. And Guillermo del Toro is the creator, like the director of Pan's Labyrinth and lots of creepy films that I adore. So when I saw that there was a book version coming out, I was so excited. I actually requested, yeah, I'm pretty sure I requested this on NetGalley and didn't get approved, so I was like, oh, that's sad. But yeah, this is amazing. Pan's Labyrinth is one of my favourite films, so if you guys don't know what it's about, I shall read it for you. In fairy tales, there are men and there are wolves. There are beasts and dead parents. There are girls and forests. Ophelia knows all this, like any young woman with a head full of stories, and she sees right away what the captain is, in his immaculate uniform, boots and gloves, smiling, a wolf. But nothing can prepare her for the feathered reality of the captain's airy house, in the midst of a dense forest which conceals many things. Half-remembered stories of lost babies, renegade resistance fighters hiding from the army, a labyrinth, beasts and fairies. There is no one to keep Ophelia safe, as the labyrinth beckons her into her own story, where the monsters and the human are inextricable, where myths pulse with living blood. Amazing. Yeah, the film came out in 2006, and it's in Spanish, so it's like it's got subtitles, but it's amazing. It's so dark and it's like fantasy horror. It's amazing. I totally forgot to mention this in my book haul earlier, but I was approved for a NetGalley book, and that one is called Dustboon by Erin Bowman. And let's see. Delta of Dead River sets out to rescue her family from a ruthless dictator rising to power in the wastes, and discovers a secret that will reshape her world in the post-apocalyptic western mashup for fans of Mad Max and Gunslinger Girl. Intrigued. I also just got a read now copy of My Ex-Imaginary Friend by Jimmy Mate Jack Morris, and this one says 11-year-old Jack thought he had outgrown his imaginary friend. George until his dad also disappears from his life. His mum's bipolar disorder isn't being properly treated, so while in the throes of a manic episode, she ditches Jack with his aunt, uncle and cousins. Jack decides that only George can help him figure out where people go when others stop believing in them, and how Jack can put his family back together. And then the last book I got is Fantastic Beasts, The Wonder of Nature, Amazing Animals and the Magical Creatures of Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts. And I was excited because it's actually the Natural History Museum, like a collaboration thing, which is so freaking cool. I think it's amazing. So it's got a bit about like real life animals and then the beasts, like the made up beasts in the film and book and stuff, and where some myths and legends began and like how they were inspired by real life things. And yeah, I'm really excited to get to this. It looks like a beautiful collection piece to have. So those are all the books that I got for Christmas and just bought myself during the month of December. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what one you think I should get to first, books you got over the Christmas period, or just what you bought yourself as well during December. I'd love to know. But now I shall speak to you in another video soon. Bye.